global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello fam, welcome back to our channel. Fairly recently, the Nigerian High Commission in Ghana was demolished over land dispute. The issue went viral. There was so much reaction on the internet. The protesters in Ghana, in the commission, also went about on the street protesting over the issue of over the fact that the High Commission was demolished without prior notice, and it was, according to them, it was done in the early wee hours of the morning around 1 a.m. Although when the Ghanaian government wrote back a reply during the issue of questioning what had gone wrong and during the investigation, they reported that the demolition took place at about 10 p.m. But whatever the case may be, there was no prior notice of the demolition. There was an outcry on the internet. Nigerians felt that Nigerians saw it as undermining their sovereignty, that any demolition or any crack on the High Commission in Ghana is tantamount to insulting the sovereignty of Nigeria. And the minister Geoffrey went to work, started making inquiries, asking questions, of which the government of Ghana responded in a diplomatic way that they are looking into it, they're investigating the matter, and they are very sorry that this whole thing went on, but we will get back to them. Well, not too long after, the Honorable Minister, the House of Rep, chaired by Femi Gbajabiamila, felt it was a slap on the sovereign state of Nigeria, and he said this was not the first time. Neither, if you check our feed, the videos are all there. This is our playlist in politics, actually. He said this is not the first time Ghana will be doing this. Neither is it the second. That is now becoming more like a human behavior, where it's becoming repeated, and there needs to be concise response, some sort of retaliation. Well, Geoffrey did not stop there. They summoned him, and he had to go about asking questions, and trying to find out what will be the next step the Ghanaian government will be doing. Would there be compensation? Will your investigation, you need to give us latest information on how you're going about your investigation, and what and who has been arrested, and what is the state, who will be the one to bear the broth and all that. Well, the good news is that the Ghanaian, that's in the Ghana itself, the country has promised to rebuild demolished building in the Nigerian High Commission in Accra, Ghana. That's good, because that's very, very good for diplomatic relationship. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyeama, announced this today. Onyeama expressed satisfaction with the steps taken by Ghana on this issue, noting that the country had accepted responsibility and agreed to restitute. That's a very good one, if you ask me. The minister fled Nigerian officials in Ghana for not obtaining the necessary document for the land dispute, making payment since 2000. He said the High Commission did not have the title deeds or obtain approval for demolition building. Well, but for those of us who did not know the full details, there was this during the time of Jerry Rawlings, the president of Ghana, the then president of Ghana, and Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, the then president of Nigeria. President Olusegun Obasanjo went into a bilateral relationship, purchased the land, was duly paid for, and so that things like this wouldn't take place. That's why Onyeama Geoffrey was saying that after the purchase, that the officials who were working in the High Commission, he's talking about the Nigerian officials who were working in the High Commission, did the country a disfavor by not obtaining the title deeds. These are proofs of payment. These are proofs to show that you are the owner of the land, and in cases like this, you would have so to speak, defended yourself. And this issue of land grabbing must have caused issues. I feel that for the young man who had the guts to demolish the place, it should also be brought to book. Yes, because due processes should have been gone. You shouldn't just wake up one morning and take laws into his hands. But some person said he must have gone through the right processes and all, because they are one of the monarch, said that they had actually been having series and series of meetings and all that, and they were not forthcoming, the response were not forthcoming. And this, according to the monarch, he said that building, the residential part of the building, was sitting on their land, and they needed to do something and all that. But I feel that there should have been what we call the land. There's land use, but there should be the map. Every state or every area in every state has that. I think they should have some sort of ministry, like Ministry of Lands and Housing, that will, guard the businessman who did this, and so that he will know that that land is not empty. It has been bought, paid for, duly paid for, and the land is not encumbered. That way he will know better. Even after buying the land, if let's assume he wanted to buy that land, I don't know when he decided to buy it, because he was claiming that that land was his. Let's assume that he bought the land. He would have gone through their land use, Ministry of Lands and Housing and Lands and Housing. That is Ministry of Housing, Lands and Housing. Verify if that land is okay, if it's sitting in a residential area, if it has been paid for, whatever ministry they use in their country. I don't know the country so well, I don't know Ghana so well, but then that would have given the young man an information, the right, concise information to take a decisive decision, make a decisive decision on that. But now, generally, that singular action has generated country to country disharmony. But I really thank God for the maturity displayed by the government of Ghana, and that they didn't allow it to escalate beyond that, despite the fact that our country, Nigeria, was already pissed over the whole situation, and they took responsibility. They said they will build the house, okay, but I feel they should take a step further. Okay, Ghana can afford to build that house over and over again, yes. And the fact that they accept the owner, but they said they would take care of it, that's a good sign of a diplomatic relationship. They're not undermining the fact that we are brothers and neighbors, and they take a lot of things for granted. That's, to me, it's a thumb up for the government of Ghana. But I also feel they should do further, because if this continues, that means anybody can wake up, demolish any high commission in their country, and the person doesn't care. After all, Ghanaian government will rebuild. It goes beyond that. They need to guard against such impression. Don't forget that this whole thing was done. It went agog on the internet. It was viral, and definitely other countries are watching to see how Ghana will respond to this, because other commissions who are seated in that area, they are watching. So which means if for any reason Ghana does not own up or didn't own up to this and said they will rebuild and probably bring the perpetrators to book, that means other high commissions will feel threatened. They will say, okay, fine, which means in Ghana our commission is not safe, and they may likely look for their own personal protection of some sort, since the Ghanaian government cannot guarantee their protection of their lives and property. But with this action, they're clearly giving out the right information, giving the whole world that they are hospitable people, and they take justice very seriously in that country, and they also value human lives, human property, and they will protect the lives of foreign citizens, foreigners in their land. And that's it. But let's quickly look at what Nigerians are saying. Just take probably one or two, and that will be where we'll go wrap it up. This one here saying, now they are talking. If not, the sanctions we would have imposed on them, I don't think. We would probably sanctions. That probably would have been ECOWAS doing that, or AU, African Union, doing that. Of course, they also need to look at the logistics and modalities, what transpired before they start giving them sanctions. But I also feel that maybe Nigerians wouldn't have seen Ghanaians in a better light, and maybe Ghanaians in Nigeria may not, and Nigerians in Ghana may not be comfortable. It won't be good for bilateral relationship, really. But thank God it went the way it went anyway. This one here is saying, Onyeama is a, oh dear, why would you want to call him that? I would rather avoid that. He was actually very insultive. This way I say Nigeria, the toothless giant of Africa. That's how small countries will keep raping us because of our senseless leaders. Mexico or Canada can't even dream, talk less of try this shit with Trump. Likewise, most European countries with Putin. We just have clowns in power. Alright, but that's where we're going to wrap it up, because honestly the comments here are really terrible. Okay, I think this last one. This one I say Ghanians are very crazy, wallahi, selling the lands to multiple people. Haba. I thought that was a Nigerian thing. I didn't know we learned that from Ghana. Look at how they transform our structures to an eyesore. But they have owned up that they would rebuild it. That's the most important thing. I usually do not like dwelling on the past. If there has been a solution, what's the way out? And now they have preferred the way out, that they're going to rebuild it. But the question is, they should do it. How fast will it be? Is it going to take 20 years to rebuild? It's going to be very fast. Some persons are saying, please, Ghana, don't build us a shithole in the name of a house. But whatever, I'm sure they will give the Nigerian embassy standard building. I'm sure they will also cost, the building, how much Nigerian embassy has spent thus far, and maybe pay for it. Some other Nigerians are feeling that they shouldn't give it to the government of the day, because if they give the money equivalent to government of the day as compensation, the money will enter audio to become an audio money. You just hear it, you don't get to see it, and don't probably get to use it. But that's where we're going to wrap it up. What do you think of this decision that Ghana has done to amend their ways, and also correct whatever aggression that's in between the country by reaching out? What a diplomatic relationship, I tell you. Well done, President of Ghana. You have done noble, you have done well. But let's meet in that conversation. What's your take on this? Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for more updates on this and much more. Have a nice time.